Hi, we are your foreign sisters. I'm Kitty.
And I'm Ligii, and today we will be talking about birth control and everything that comes with it. Um, yeah, this has been a topic we've wanted to talk about for a while, but we have never felt quite ready to talk about it because we're still learning things about ourselves and about what works and what doesn't, and there's obviously still things getting added and like researched, and we are finding out about still a lot of stuff when we're talking about birth control and everything. But yeah, we want to preface this video by saying we are not medical professionals. We are pretty much clueless about what we're talking about, but this episode is going to be like about our experiences and just to bring awareness that this is what we as women are dealing with on a pretty much regular basis, because it is our daily life. And yeah, we just thought it's a very important topic, and we just want to reduce the stigma that comes with it.
Exactly. Yeah, because you don't really. It's like given that women are using contraception, but people don't really talk about maybe their experiences, which would be useful sometimes. Because some of us could be skipping certain steps or certain contraceptions if they had I guess a bit more knowledge of what women are actually experiencing while getting them or while using them and similar. Obviously, it's very individual. And
But yeah,
well, contraception.
did you want to say something?
Yeah. I'll just say, I guess, why a contraception is a thing. Well, in the first place, it's about us being protected. Well, some forms of contraception can protect us from STIs and STDs, so sexual transmittable diseases or infections. And I like what Ligii has a little point about it, that the STIs and STDs are the same, really. It's just we're calling them infections now, so it's not as stigmatized as an aborted disease, I guess. And then the bigger thing, I think, why contraception exists is to avoid pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies, and also it can be used to treat other symptoms or illnesses like acne, PCOS, endometriosis, and heavy and painful periods, apparently.
Yeah,
sadly.
And there's also all different kinds of birth control types for females. So we have implants that get inserted in your arm, usually, IUDs, injections, oral contraceptive pills, vaginal rings, barrier methods, that it's like condoms, diaphragms, tubal ligation, contraceptive patches, emergency contraception, and natural methods like cycle tracking and symptom tracking. Out of all of them, I personally have tried the oral contraceptive pills. I've tried both the combined pill and Progestogen only pill, and I've also been on an implant. This is my second time on it, and I've also obviously have used condoms in my life. It feels so weird talking about it
I know.
to a camera. And also there was a period in my life where I really wanted to just like be all natural and stop the hormones and everything, because I didn't like the way how they made me feel and how they made my body react to them. So I went to natural methods, which was cycle tracking and symptom tracking, which was very cool, because for the first time in my life I noticed that there are differences in my body when it comes to like different times of month. And I usually would notice like when I'm ovulating, like I'd be like, ooh, this is around the time, so that I thought that was very cool. So I understand why some people track it that way, but I also understand that not everybody has symptoms, or they can tell where they are in their cycle.
Yes, and I have used and tried a few of these methods myself. Similar to Ligii, I think condoms are used by everyone. I would hope so. Then I've had an IUD. My first contraception was IUD. Then I had an implant, and then for a brief period I had both implant and I was using, I think, the progestogen only pill on top of the implant, which I'll speak about a bit more in detail later. And then I am now on natural ways, like tracking my period plus like using condoms and everything, for almost 4 years now. And yeah, IUD was my first contraception, and I only lasted with it. It was non-hormonal IUD as well, because I was thinking, well, I don't want to be, if I have the chance of not adding any extra hormones in my body, I'd rather do that. But then I only lasted with it for like 6 months maybe. And I think, well, it wouldn't probably change if it's hormonal or not hormonal, but yeah, it made my periods even worse than they were before. And like, yeah, like extreme cramping, and it was just very not an extreme, even cramping before my period. So around the time, I imagine, when I was ovulating, I was getting like these very sharp pains in my, lower abdomen and everything. So yeah, I decided to remove it and go to implant, to the other side of the spectrum, which is fully hormonal, obviously. At that point I had a hope. Well, had a hope, that's horrible to say, but at that point I was thinking, if I get an implant, there is a high chance that I might not be getting my periods at all for a while. Unfortunately for me, that was not the case. I was still getting my periods, and not only that, my periods were actually almost like never fully ending. I would be like spotting throughout the whole month, which wasn't great. And when I spoke to the doctors and nurses, they suggested to use the pill on top of it, which I did for almost a year, I think, probably, or maybe less, year and a half maybe. I can't remember the specifics how long I was on implant only and when I got the pill, but I was, yeah. And then after that, at some point, supported by my partner back then as well, I decided to go get off all the hormonal stuff and just do it naturally. So yeah, since 2022 November, I'm off anything, and I've been only tracking my cycle with Natural Cycles app, which measures your temperature, and like you can insert your symptoms and everything, and yeah, here we are. It's going well. I would say it's going well, and as Ligii said, actually, I do feel now I actually can more or less sense and actually understand where I am in my cycle, based on my, I don't know, energy levels, based on my I don't know, sensations in the body, I guess. And yeah, just kind of, it's easier to understand where you are. We are moving through the whole cycle. Not that it's a perfect science anyways. It's not like I can predict when exactly my period will start, because it is affected by a lot of stuff, like how stressed you were, or if you were ill, it means everything's going to be pushed back or forward or so yeah. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, my birth control contraception story is a bit different. I moved to the UK, and here people were actually talking about it. Like in Latvia, I don't remember people talking about it, like girls, even like girls to girls or anything, apart from your parents telling you to use a condom. That's it. Nobody would ever like tell you anything. And here everybody's so open about it, which I found very surprising at first, but then I fell in love with it, because I was like, oh, we do matter, like our insides matter and everything matters. So it was nice to be able to talk about it. And then I decided to go on a progestogen only pill, because I really didn't want that. I didn't want anything inside of my body physically. So I thought pill is the safest option, and I was on it for I think 2.5 years, and then I decided that enough is enough, because I had gained a lot of weight, but my doctors told me it's nothing to do with the pill, don't be silly. And I was like, okay, that's cool, because you're doctors, you know better. Maybe it is just, you know, me, because I've also had like a lot of other stuff going on. It was believable. And then I think I was clear maybe for like 3 months of like just using condoms, and then I decided to go to doctors about my acne, and they prescribed me a combined pill. I only had to take it for 3 months, and I think I only lasted a month because the side effects were awful. Like, one of the side effects is depression and suicidalness, and it really struck me really hard. And I remember calling my doctor and being like, hey, like, I'm already suffering with PTSD and depression as it is. Like, I find this really, really difficult. And I remember I felt so horrible at that time, and my doctors told me, oh, it's all in your head, just go for a walk. And I was like, okay. But then I stopped taking them. I never finished the course of like the 3 months because I just couldn't, and I chose to choose myself and believe in myself, although doctors technically told me I'm wrong. And then for about, I'd say like 6 months, almost maybe a year, I just went condoms and cycle tracking. And then again, I decided, okay, I actually am not ready for a baby in case an accident happens. And then I had a lovely chat with the nurse. We had like a phone call, and she explained all my options. And that's, well, also she told me that the first pills that I was on, like for those 2.5 years, actually had lactose in them, and I'm lactose intolerant. So maybe that's why I gained so much weight. But obviously nobody will ever know. And yeah, the nurse was lovely, and she explained all my options, and we decided that an implant is the best option for me because I can't take all of the pills, and at the time I was overweight, and when you're overweight you can't have injections or other like things just don't work as well for you as when you're a healthy weight. But yeah, so we decided on an implant, and I was dreading it because, as I said, I really didn't want anything physical in my body. But I decided that, you know, not having a child when I'm really not ready for it outweighs everything else. Yeah, I got the implant, and for the first 6 months, maybe a year, it was amazing. I loved it. I never got my period. I never had any symptoms, nothing. And then after my body got used to it, I was, as Kitty said, just constantly on my period, and it came with like cramps and spotting, and it was just so annoying, and it wasn't good because obviously everything gets irritated because you keep like changing the products or whatever. And yeah, then I decided enough is enough, and I'm gonna get it out. And then I was all natural for maybe a year, and I loved it because I feel like that was the first time I've been like truly natural. Like, I felt my body, I solved the like little intricacies of where I am in my cycle. And then I decided that my acne still needs like work, and I finally got to see a dermatologist about it. I had waited in a queue for quite a while, and they prescribed me Roaccutane, which means I definitely shouldn't be having babies, and I had to basically either take pills, again contraception pills, or go back on an implant. And because I thought that implant would be the lesser evil, even if I had a period for a year non-stop, I thought that's better than not understanding what's getting put in my body in a way, because I was scared they would again give me like very bad side effects or make me gain weight, although they technically don't, or you know, things like that. So at the moment I've had my implant only for since end of January, so only 3-4 months, and so far it's been all right. But I also know that it can change. But I haven't lost my period either. It's very irregular, but I'm still kind of getting it, and yeah, I miss not having an implant, but I know it's again for something better, to make me feel better and just be better and be healthier. So that's my journey so far.
It's crazy though. We're only 26, well, 27, and we've gone through so many options.
Yeah.
But also, I do want to come back to the point where you were saying how refreshing it was that in the UK people were talking about it. The students were like around us were talking about it, and I think that's what kind of got me into being like, you know what? Yes, I should be in control of my body. I shouldn't be, just chancing it. Because for a little bit I was a bit of a crazy daredevil, and I was like, without any contraception I was still sexually active, and at some point I realized this is probably, I don't want to accidentally become pregnant at a time where I'm definitely not ready for it, and it would just not be a good way to have a kid at that point. And that's like in university times as well, right? Like, because in Latvia I don't remember as well. Well, I do remember very briefly that my mom was talking about her having an IUD. That's why it's probably one of the reasons why I got IUD as my first contraception as well, because I was like, okay, I've heard about it. I know some females in my family have had it. Not that they've talked a lot about it. I just remember them saying, oh yeah, I'll have to go and change it soon or something. I never really, I think, got more information about it. But yeah, I think me being in a state where, like, you know what, if there's something non-hormonal I can take, that's a good option. I know, like, the whole point, like, oh, you don't want anything in there. It's actually, you don't feel it at all. The whole IUD experience is a whole experience as well. Well, getting it inserted is a whole experience, which I only now realized I probably actually kind of passed out after it being inserted in me, because probably of the pain or something. While the procedure was happening, it was quite quick. It was only like 5-10 minutes and it was done, and I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, that's really good. And I wasn't like, I did feel a pinch or something or whatever they were saying, but I didn't, like, it wasn't bad. And then I even walked home and everything. But then I remember getting to my room and feeling like sick, physically, like sick, when you hit your elbow kind of thing, that kind of sick. And I was like, well, I need to lay down. And I think I passed out for a little bit. But after that, I think it didn't take long. It like maybe a week or two, you kind of started to not, like, you knew it is there, but it wasn't hurting. It wasn't physically hurting all the time. And then you kind of forget, like, you don't feel it there. Just aftermath, I guess, like once the copper is interacting with your internal fluids and hormones or whatever is happening there. I started having pains, and my period was a lot worse. Like, all the period symptoms and PMS and everything was worse than I had before, and I thought, you know what, like, I could get through it, like I could have stayed with it, but then I was thinking the same as, like, if I can choose not to suffer this every single month, or maybe even a couple of times a month, then why wouldn't I get rid of it? Obviously, I don't think the nurses were very impressed that I took it out that quickly, because they always say, well, you need a few months to get used to it. And I think I gave it a fair chance for half a year. But yeah, that was an interesting experience for sure. Removing it was quick. I don't remember anything. Well, like, I don't think it was also like a 5-10 minute procedure, and that's it. That time, that was fine. It was easier to take it out, and I don't think I was in any pain or anything afterwards. Yeah, that was a whole experience. I didn't
traumatic.
It is. It was a little bit, but I wasn't looking at it as traumatic until a few years back. I was seeing how people are talking about their experiences and how, like, almost like not malpractices. It's just about the fact that women get like a different level of care in general, in like in medical fields in general, but like especially with sexual health. How they don't like even offer, you know, any pain medicine or anything while doing the procedure. So and they were like explaining their like how they felt and what happened. I was like, oh god, I went through that. Like I was like I probably like passed out in my room a little bit. So yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't even know. Well, I guess we can talk. Do you want to talk about your implant experience? Like experience in a sense, the procedure.
The first time that it got inserted into me, it sounds so brutal. I only, like, you feel the anesthetic because they actually give you some then, and then obviously they slice you open and then they push that thingy and the implant in, and I don't think it didn't like hurt much. Like, it doesn't hurt when it gets inserted, but then when they start wiggling it to make sure it's like in, it hurts, because obviously not everything is under anesthetic. It's just like that part where they've cut you, but it only lasts like a minute, so it's like, okay, I can breathe through it, and then they just put a plaster on top and you're okay for like 2 days. But I remember the first time it really bruised for me. Like, it looked like, yeah, it looked awful. It looked like I've been in a fight or something. And yeah, I remember somebody just accidentally touched me and I was in so much pain. And I think it lasted like maybe 2 weeks for the bruises to go down. And then I was really scared to get it taken out, because I had heard horror stories that like sometimes it gets stuck or they can't find it and then they just go, oh, let's leave it. And but mine was, my nurse who took it out, she said she wishes everybody's was as easy, because it just like came out and that's it. And I was like, oh, because I even got my partner to come with me, because I was like, I get freaked out if there's blood, so I was like, I will need you there. So he was so lovely and he just sat in the waiting room. Then I came out and I was like, I was being a wuss, it was fine. Yeah. And then the second time, I think the procedure itself hurt more, but I didn't get any bruising afterwards. Like, it was like a tiny bruise just over the implant itself, but it wasn't like my whole arm. And yeah, and I feel like sometimes it's very weird, because depending on the position of your arm, you can feel it poking in you. But other than that, there has been no pain and no nothing. And yeah, that's been my procedure experience with implants.
Yeah. Did they put it in the same place as before as well?
Yes.
I see. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I remember as well. But basically, yeah, the same procedure. I don't think, yeah, they put a local anesthetic, which was fine. I think I probably also had major bruising afterwards, but you know, it went away. And then I was just like, well, there's like a little scar, little dot you can see. And I remember like you could sense it. Like I sometimes would touch it to see, you know, if it's still in the place. Like you could see it, but it's like so tiny.
Check it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so tiny. It's tinier than I imagined, because I don't know, for some reason, implant in my head sounds something like quite a big thing. Mm-hmm. Even IUD is technically not as big, but like implant is even like tinier than like size comparison. Yeah, implant was interesting. I don't remember the removal. I think it was probably pretty quick as well. And at that point, I was just like, I'm just happy to get rid of it. I just want to get rid of everything. And mm-hmm. If I think about it, because I had the implant plus pills for a while, again, I can't really just pinpoint it on the pills or the hormonal implant, but around the time, you know, like everything, I might have had some sort of like a depression effect from them, with the combination of the hormones. But then again, I was also at the point in my life where there were a lot of changes, and everything was just like emotionally kind of getting to me. But like the whole like feeling down, was probably affected on it. That's why I wanted to get rid of it as well. Rid of both of them, the pills and the implant. What else I want to say? Did you experience any other side effects on it? Implant, or I guess pills is very similar. Well, you mentioned, I guess,
I wouldn't say so, other from the like constant spotting.
Yeah.
On my implant, but I think that was pretty much it. Well, when my first implant got inserted into me, I'm pretty sure it was also like what was happening to me in my life and everything, but so I got my implant put in me in November, and then in December I had already lost 20 kilos.
Oh.
Like that was when, but I don't know if it was because of the implant, because of my lifestyle, because I was experiencing a lot of changes as well, and I was very stressed, and I was barely, like, I wasn't eating at all. So, but I don't think the implant caused it, because it did kind of improve. I'm not quite sure. It's very hard to know, because we'll talk about side effects in a bit. You never know. They always say it might, it's likely or unlikely, or you can never know 100%. You can never be 100% sure that is caused by pills or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do want to say, I think while I was on implant and the pills, my libido was definitely very low as well. Not that it's crazy high in general, but like it was even lower than probably like my normal state would be. Yeah, the spotting was just annoying. Like it didn't came with pain per se. Like besides like, you know, regular period pain, if you had any. It was definitely much better than I had it with IUD. But yeah, it was just annoying. Well, especially with the fact that, you know, like it was already tough periods with IUD, and then I had an implant, and it was a whole mess. It was just so annoying. And I think the pill definitely helped with the spotting. But I can't really I guess say much about the pill, because, you know, I was using both of them at the same time, which also seems crazy. like double up. I mean, if it was what was needed, it was what was needed. Yeah. I don't even know if there's. I mean, I guess we can talk about the fact. Oh, well, mentioning the fact, like back home in Latvia, and didn't use any contraceptives at all. I wasn't even in any form or shape sexually active as well, so I didn't even think about it. But good news about the England and Wales was that these things are for free as well, right? Yeah, all these procedures and even the pills were for free, right?
Yeah. In Latvia you have to pretty much pay for everything, and I did some googling, so I'm not sure how accurate these prices are, but I've taken them from one specific clinic, and I'm not sure if it's maybe a cheaper one, more expensive one, but I read that it costs about 70 euros to get an IUD inserted in you, but the IUD itself isn't included in the price. So to buy the IUD, it costs anywhere from 120 to 260 euros, depending on if it's with the hormonal one and depending on the brand, which I found a bit crazy.
Yeah,
but then again, I knew we had it good here with free healthcare and everything. But yeah, for something that I think should be free, because it's just a human right to like deal with periods and not get pregnant. But yeah, and then you also have to pay 60 euros to take it out. And to see a gynecologist, it costs anywhere from 30 euros to 70 euros. But yeah, so it's nice here in Wales and England
Yeah.
because it's for free, and we really appreciate that. But we also understand it comes obviously out of our taxes. But yeah, and then I wanted to touch upon the side effects because I don't know about you, Kitty, but when I first got my pills, like back when I was 20 years old, my first lot, and I read the side effects leaflet, it was huge. It was like a blanket, and I got so confused because I was like, do I really need to read all of this before I start taking them? And I really wanted to. And there were like so many side effects and so many this and so many do's and don'ts, and it was just crazy. I had never seen anything like it. And yeah, most of the side effects are said to likely go away, or there is not evidence to say whether this is caused by said contraception, which I find is odd because they know that, oh, you are likely to get this, you're likely to get that. So how can they say there is not enough evidence if there's evidence enough to put it on a leaflet? You know, that is what I find very confusing. And I understand it's like a science and you can't guarantee that it is or it isn't. But it's just very bizarre, the whole side effects situation to me. But side effects may include, there's a lot more, but I've just written down the ones that were like wow to me. Irregular periods / spotting, we've experienced both. Nausea, headaches, breast tenderness, mood changes, acne, libido changes, ovarian cysts, cancer, blood clots, weight gain, pelvic infections, thrush / bacterial vaginosis, and weaker bones if you get the injection. And obviously that's not all of them, but they're still crazy enough. And I find it also very crazy that sometimes doctors just prescribe hormonal like pills just as a you know, they don't even like, I feel like sometimes they don't even look at you before they like sign that medicine to you, and it has so many side effects and everything. It's a bit bizarre and crazy. I feel like it should become like, I don't know, a bit more under control
and personalized as well, maybe, right?
Yes. And I feel like maybe they should listen to us when we say that, hey, this isn't working for me, because we are the ones who have to live with it for years.
And they're like not undermining whatever the pain is, or you know, I think, because quite often, even with the procedures, with the IUD especially, the nurses and everyone would say, you know, it doesn't hurt at all, you're not gonna feel a thing or something. But like, there are so many women that feel extreme pain while the procedure is happening. So it kind of sounds like a lie. Okay, if one person feels it, it's better to, you know, I don't know, give some heads up.
Because everybody's pain tolerance is also different, so I feel like that should be taken into consideration. And everybody reacts differently, you know, everybody has strengths and weaknesses. And it's just I feel like although it's great that we have options, which is better than men, which we will talk about in a second, but I still feel like there could be like a lot of improvement made. And obviously me sitting here saying that won't change a thing, but at least we can maybe start having a chat about it and make it less stigmatized, and maybe make people aware that this is what we deal with. Because I feel like, especially in Latvia, I feel like we couldn't even like tell people we were in our periods. And I had very heavy periods when I was a child, like growing up, and it wasn't even the heaviness that like bugged me, it was like the pain, and no painkillers would help and nothing would help. And I remember going to a gynecologist and she prescribed me like these strong painkillers and they still wouldn't help. And the amounts of classes, like I skipped school because of it. Like sometimes I'd come to school and then I'd like survive 3 hours and then I'd be like, you know what, no, this ain't happening. Like it felt like you're dying. I know I'm being dramatic and it sounds dramatic, but that's how it felt. Like it was so bad, it was so painful, and nothing would soothe the pain. And I feel like we should receive some, you know, I don't know, because I also understand that not everybody feels it that way, but sometimes it is bad.
Yes, but just because not everyone it doesn't feel it, it doesn't mean that a certain person isn't like actually going through extreme pain, which is And I think you saying, you feel like you're dying. Obviously, it was pain so hard and heavy that like it is affecting your ability to focus or do anything. And that's bad. That means it's a really bad pain, okay? Because obviously it's not going to be just a little pinch and you're crying. Like obviously it's a lot more serious than than some people I think imagine. And I am actually I'm sorry and sad to hear that you were the person who's had like super heavy, like painful periods. I always feel like I've have probably been one of the lucky people that's not like it's not that I don't feel anything at all. There are days like where the period cramps and everything are still quite painful and like crazy to think about, but at the same time, for majority of my experience, I can function as normal. Like which I'm on one hand like quite grateful for. But also I just feel like I don't want to be talking about it like it's not that I don't think it's that bad. It's not that bad. I just don't want people to think, oh, that's normal for everyone, because I'm like I'm highly aware my experience is not the same how it is for other women out there. So yeah.
And also everybody's flow is different. Like some people's light period could be my heavy or the other way around. And it is very personalized, I'd say. And I think definitely more research should go into it, and surely there's something more, well, less invasive and maybe more natural that could help. But what do we know?
We're not scientists.
No.
And I mean, I guess we can move on to the contraception for males, huh?
Yeah, they only have 3 options to choose from, and only 2 of them are options. So one is vasectomy, one of them is barrier methods, so condoms, and then the third one that was listed was withdrawal or the pull-out method.
Which is,
and that's it.
The comparison, the fact that we have how many do we have? But that's even here, that's here in the UK. I imagine I was surprised to hear about injections. I never knew such thing existed, for example, before like being here in the UK. I mean, even before like exactly being in Latvia, I knew something about IUD and condoms. That's all, and pills.
Yeah.
But like the fact that we have a lot more. But there is research and things being in development for men to have contraceptive pills as well. But at the moment, there are no approved pills available on the market. I have heard, I mean, it might be fake news or anything, but I've seen videos where people are saying, well, it's not approved because of the symptoms men might get from the pills, which might be on a similar level to what we have with our pills. But maybe one day it's gonna be an option, because I do feel like men should be also a lot more considerable about these things, because in reality men can impregnate unlimitless women in 1 year, while a female can get pregnant once a year. If she gets pregnant, that's all. She can't get pregnant again while she's carrying the pregnancy. So that's just it would be good for them to take on a bigger chunk of the responsibility, maybe.
But some men don't even like the feel of condoms,
which is ridiculous. Also, because at the same time, even though you have contraceptions, they still don't protect you fully from the STIs and STDs. Like, you do need to use condoms if you want to be safe. yeah, I do feel like men are quite careless in this aspect, unfortunately.
Not all men, obviously.
No.
Like there are some brilliant men out
Cautious,
there,
yeah.
but in my
But when
experience,
yeah,
there's only a few that I've been with that haven't made, oh, please put a condom on, a big deal.
Oh, making a bit. Oh God, yes. I mean, to be fair, that's a whole journey on its own. When I became sexually active, I actually felt very conscious about even bringing it up. If I should, I wasn't bringing it up actually. I was like, yeah, I was too shy, and which is stupid. But I just felt like, oh God, I can't ask for it, right? Like I'm gonna be like a needy person. What the hell? I don't know.
It definitely ruins the mood, I'll tell you that, but
Yeah.
I'd rather not do anything
Yeah.
with you if we ain't gonna be protected, and you know, because at the end of the day, the men, the boys that I've been with in the past, the ones who were like, oh, but I don't like the feel of it, or whatever other excuse, they wouldn't have to bear a child for 9 months and then breastfeed and then whatever. They could just like, you know, disappear, and that's it. Like I feel like they don't have, their consequences aren't as big as the ones that women have to go through. Because although, like, yes, you're gonna be a dad, you don't have to go through all of those changes, hormonal changes, body changes for like a year, and then you can get the postpartum depression, which can also last like a year or two. Like, it's just crazy. And I feel like I'm very grateful to the men who understand this, but I wish more of them did.
Yes. No, it's actually, yeah, I would say it's oddly, I mean the bar is low, but it is oddly refreshing to encounter men that are, you know, they're actually proactive with protection. And but like that shouldn't be, that shouldn't be something to be proud of. That's like bare minimum if we think about it. But either way, I mean, there are people who are very cautious and they are like proactive, and they take on the responsibility, which is good. It's just, I guess it would be good to see the majority of people being like that, because it is both. I mean, obviously both people should be responsible, and I think, well, I can say personally, I'm taking, I'm doing what I can to be responsible in that areas, and at the same time taking care of my health, and being, trying to be healthy as possible. So yeah, so I guess that's that.
I think that's all we've had to say. Or is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. Just, I guess, have fun, enjoy life, but be careful.
Yeah.
And there is something oddly empowering of taking control of your body, and like you knowing that if you don't want to get pregnant, that you're doing things for it not to happen, in an unplanned way. Because I remember getting my IUD. I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm a woman now. I'm in control. It's my, like that was quite good. And I guess it's just like it's trial and error, finding the best thing that like works for you. Because at the same time, there are a lot of crazy stories you can hear about any of those contraceptives. It's just, you just kind of have to work through it.
Yeah.
And not for it's not the same for everyone at the same time. So yeah.
Well, thank you for watching and listening. And we'll see you later.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.